Oh, I'm live. Cool. I was trying to get in some breakfast before starting this. I'm really tired of isolating, but now I kind of have to. I've got something. It is not COVID. I thought it was measles, but apparently it isn't that either. I don't have a fever. Yesterday my temperature got up to 99. That's nothing. Today it's 98, which is normal. I thought measles because I had an itchy red rash, but apparently it the rash on my back with the itchies was from using a different brand of laundry detergent. I did have a runny nose for a while, that's gone. Maybe I had a cold, but I'm still not feeling well. I'm sluggish and not really sleepy, but kind of foggy. Hi, Tim. Good to see you here. Um, Hoping the internet connection gets stable. That's funny. YouTube says I have no listeners, but I had two a second ago. Anyway, I'm doing okay, but I have to isolate because whatever I have, nobody wants it. I'm not in any danger health wise. Here we go. Now I have three listeners. Wow. I switched from Sunday to Saturday. Hi, other Tim. Well, they say the COVID virus is related to it, I think, in the United States before China admitted they had it, a problem. I don't know, but that was something awful. And I came close to calling for an ambulance, but I managed to knock it down with home remedies, a vaporizer, a Benadryl, and chlortrimeton alternating, not together. They're both allergy medications. They work for colds and flu, at least for me. I probably should not have. They say not to take aspirin when you REYES. Anyway, I'm resting. I have been for this whole thing. My problem now is I just have to stay away from other people so I don't pass it on, whatever it is, to the new laundry detergent. Oh, hi, Cat Squad. Purr. Um, you see, um, allergies generally don't cause any fever at all, and I did have a 99 for a while, which is low grade fever, but it's mostly not. I don't know. I just have a mask. See, problem is it tends to cover my eyes. Anyway, let's see. My cat can't. It's hard for me to type and talk at the same time unless I'm typing what I say. I'm trying to figure out where I caught it. I did go to the post office on Wednesday. Oh, yeah, all my groceries are delivered now, except when I go around the block for chocolate bars and cigarettes. The problem is the closest grocery store is almost a mile away, and it's okay to walk down there, and it's a slight up I'm carrying a bag or two of. On the bright side, they're now saying that cigarette smoke seems to kill the nasty virus. Hmm, I don't actually inhale it into my lungs, although I'm sure I'm breathing in the side stream. I don't go "Ugh," like a pot smoker. I just puff into my mouth and blow it out. Um, it's still a nasty habit, but I can't imagine breathing directly from the cigarette into my lungs. Well, they think maybe studies suggest they thought cigarette smokers would be most at risk for dying from this virus. Hi, Moonlight. You're only half German there. Moon in German is Mond, der Mond, Mond. Now, as English speakers, we tend to think of the sun as male, like the Greek god Helios, and the moon as female, like Diana or Selene in the myth. But in German, it's the moon is male and die Sonne, the sun, is female. Okay, half German, half Scottish. So it's a Scottish moon with German light. That's cool. I studied German in self defense because my husband tried to use it to say things in secret to other people. But see, I had read Escape from Colditz and I had seen the movie The Great Escape. I knew enough German from that to figure out that when he was telling a woman, Du bist eine schöne Mädchen, he was calling her a pretty girl. Anyway, I went to the junior college and studied German, and I ended up speaking it much better than Phil ever did. He had apparently a little German in high school, and he had a neighbor who was native German, but what he learned wasn't um, the Schuldeutsch, the school German that I learned. Yes, Philip K. Dick, he spoke a little German. He liked to tell people he was German and that's where he got his name, but actually, he was 3/4 Scottish and 1/4 English. His mother was half English, half Scottish, and his father was full blooded Scottish. Phil's grandfather, Edgar's father, immigrated from Scotland to uh, establish a farm in Pennsylvania, where Edgar, legal name Joseph Edgar, but he went by Edgar, grew up. And somehow he and some of his brothers ended up in Fort Morgan, Colorado. So that's where they're buried, and that's where Phil and his twin sister are buried in the family plot in Fort Morgan, Colorado. So Phil's grandparents and his father, but not his mother, are buried nearby, and some aunts and uncles that he apparently never knew. Yeah, Phil liked the operas of what's his name? How can I forget famous names? The Ring trilogy, Richard Wagner. I cringe when people call him Richard Wagner. Ugh, it's Richard Wagner. Wagner was a racist pig but his music is awesome and it's based on Norse myth. On my side, I'm part Scottish, same clan as John Wayne, Clan Morrison. And by the way, the Campbells were filthy traitors. They sided with England. Oh, I think Phil was writing more realism than fiction, than science fiction, with Flow My Tears, the policeman said, and definitely was a Scanner Darkly. Nowadays, a Scanner Darkly doesn't seem science fiction-y at all. It seems like a mainstream novel. Do I have a swagger when I walk? No, I limp. Yes, John Wayne. I believe his name was Marion Morrison. John Wayne was his stage name. Even with what became Blade Runner, but Phil titled Do Androids Dream of Electric Sheep? That's actually quite realistic that um, clones of humans can be grown in laboratories. We don't know whether they have souls, but they would certainly become slaves, at least to the scientists who are studying them. Oh, her cool. I don't know what that means, Cat. I don't understand your question. I don't know about Jim Morrison, but Phil was Lowland Scots and my clan was Highland Scots. The Lowland Scots are very tall, the Highland Scots being more closely related to the indigenous Picts, the picture people, Picts. Um, the Highland Scots are shorter. And Phil would have been taller if he had not been born prematurely. When I met his father, Edgar, I was just amazed. If you put a beard on Edgar, he was clean shaven, but if he had a beard, he looked just like his son, but he was much taller. Anyway, Scottish history is fine, but I'm not sure I could handle their climate. I do want to. Oh, can you send a donation? I have a PayPal and I have a GoFundMe. Uh, if you have PayPal, there's no fees for donating to my kitties cats fund. Oops.com, PayPal. I'm not hurting right now, even though I have not received the $1,200 stimulus check. That is earmarked for finally ripping out the moldy parts of my kitchen. They're becoming a health hazard. So as soon as that comes in, I get the kitchen ripped apart. It won't be enough to put it back together, but it'll be a good start. I wonder, am I allowed to post pictures here? No, only emojis. Oh well. I should have direct deposit because I'm on Social Security taxes, but I have to file because unstable connection message again. I have to file income taxes because so many of the things like my medical, my signed income tax forms. I'm earning books for sale on recent book is K. Dick. I of course like the novel. And the first Blade Runner movie was good despite its being very little like the novel. And I trash Blade Runner 2042, or is it 41? Yeah, it's 2041, I guess. To start writing about it, and then the third time, 24. Oh, come on. I keep getting the, your connection is unstable. No, Deckard. Well, in the book, Deckard. Let's see, DECT. If only I could type what I said. Deckard. Deckard with an E. And the book is whether. Mm, come on, come on. There we go. Another glitch. Thank you, YouTube. It isn't my internet connection, it's YouTube. This is why I quit doing this on Sunday. It was getting too difficult. Probably because all the churches. Hi, Dave. Sleepy Dave is here. Well, anyway, Blade Runner 2049 is a work of art, but that is just so dissonant. It doesn't fit with Blade Runner. Ridley Scott chose, he's an artiste, a French Canadian director with a very strong. Please wait while we try reconnecting. I hate YouTube. They keep glitching me. Sense of the artistic. He's an artiste. He was the wrong director for Blade Runner. So I blame Ridley Scott for choosing him. Oh, Sleepy Dave, working on a book. Good for you. Or is that 15 minutes? Anyway, they're huge. Do it. 9 is all the plot. You evil, you problem with the film is all the plot holes. I know they have to change things to make a film. My favorite of the films, Radio Free Albemuth, really does make many changes, but it's the most faithful adaptation. Not so, oh, come on. Your connection is unstable. Please wait while we try reconnecting. Evil YouTube. Radio Free Albemuth is the most faithful. Blade Runner doesn't even try to be faithful. Ridley Scott says he never read the book. He liked Hampton Fancher's screenplay, but Phil hated it, so they brought in David Peoples to fix it. David Peoples says there was nothing wrong with Hampton Fancher's Total Recall with Arnold Schwarzenegger. Yeah, it's nothing like Phil's story, really, but it caught Phil's sense of humor, whereas the original Blade Runner caught Phil's dark vision of evil. I keep being told by YouTube that the connection is unstable. Please wait while we try reconnecting. Anyway, I don't suppose there's any way to combine Total Recall with Blade Runner. But the most underrated is Imposter. It's a great film. Low budget, like Radio Free Albemuth, but it's a great film. And then there's Screamers, also a pretty good, entertaining movie that's highly underrated. But Imposter is a great movie that's underrated. That's what Ridley Scott said. He said he never read the book, just the screenplay. And frankly, Phil was disgusted that it was shootout, car chase. Yeah, effects. You can hear nearly all of what I'm saying, huh? Let's see. Oops, wrong one. I'm turning up my voice. I haven't seen Paycheck. Either that or I got interrupted in a while. He doesn't live close by, but he's willing to drive a few 100 miles to come see me. And the older my granddaughter gets, the wiser and more beautiful my son thinks I am. Between Ben Affleck and the no chemistry. And I don't think they're really acting, they're just walking through their parts. I've seen a few clips at the very least, and they just don't seem to be into it. It's like, oh, I have a contract, I have to do this dog of a film. Now, I saw the instructor got hold of not Ridley, Steven Spielberg's senior project when Spielberg was studying film. Now, I thought it was at UCLA, but apparently Spielberg didn't go to UCLA. Oh, Uma Thurman might be brilliant in Paycheck, but Ben Affleck isn't. Anyway, um, Spielberg's his senior project, primarily Beyond Lies the Wub. But your connection is unstable. Please wait while we try reconnecting. The clips I have seen that Ben Affleck had no inflection in was Frankenstein flanking YouTube. Reconnect already. My connection is unstable. Here we go. Even when the not but flat, I am logged out of all other windows. This is I am YouTube. They're swamped. Hard to believe that YouTube could run out of bandwidth. Well, I'll dig up the Netflix or Amazon. I don't know, but I do know that I loved Imposter. Shall I give you a spoiler? Sort of a spoiler. The alien was more humane than the human. He was a good guy, but he was the enemy. Anyway, I seem to have a connection now. I hope you're all hitting that wonder like that. Oh, anyway, Dave, did you hear me saying that I was disconnected? I hate, just like my neti pot. It's a gloomy day. I'm fogged in. The sky is overcast. It's kind of cold, but not super cold. But I don't seem to have any wrenches in here. Um, really don't feel so well. I'm playing with my food, my locally made caramels with sea salt. Hi, Paul from Newcastle. Whenever I see Newcastle, I think of that um, old saying, coals to Newcastle. Apparently, Newcastle is a coal mining town, or at least was. If you take coals to Newcastle, you can't sell them. They sell coal. Well, good old YouTube is being mean to me, that's all. Let's see, half an hour, and I'm just kind of. Well, I'm not going to write a review of Paycheck just yet. If I did watch it, I don't remember, so I'm thinking I must have gotten distracted because I do know that I own the DVD somewhere in all this mess. Um, the problem with Paycheck is lawyers, Hollywood lawyers. They found out that Phil's agent failed to renew the copyright on the original story. Now, the copyright is still valid everywhere else, but not in the United States. So a bunch of lawyers got rich, and Phil's children were robbed. But that's another story. And I don't know about it because no one's allowed to talk about the eventual settlement. Well, I don't get any money from it anyway, but my son would. Um, I didn't inherit anything because I signed the stinking divorce papers. I shouldn't ever have signed them. Uh, come on, YouTube, reconnect me. Or that said, and a bunch of lying scumbags who, because I had marriage counseling, and I took all the furniture and him out the chat because it isn't my own face. Of course, I have to wait for the pop out to load. Don't you just love you? Well, anyway, I did get something because we try to reconnect. Here we go. I did get something because Phil acknowledged that I was co author of A Scanner Darkly and that I was entitled to money from a movie deal for his novel Ubik. But the movie deal for Ubik never went through, and the movie for A Scanner, and that's all at an end. I don't get anything now. Evil, evil YouTube. Come on, reconnect me. Here we go. I don't get anything now. I'm on my own. So I'm hoping that my books on Amazon will sell. Little better than the $400 a year that I'm making now. Let's see. I have, I don't know, 8 or 9 books, something like that. And I'm working on the X in Exegesis. Oh, hi, Crichton. I finally have a wrench in the room. Welcome, Crichton. Oh, come on, you evil thing. Type in the box. Welcome in. Um, and I have total of three books about Phil. There's Philip K. Dick, Remembering Firebright, Conversations with Philip K. Dick, and Blade Runner creator Philip K. Dick. Well, um, I would write a screenplay, Timothy, but Hollywood is full of a bunch of thieves. And I'm really more comfortable with the novel genre. I did write a screenplay for Ubik just for fun. I'm not allowed to sell it or anything like that because I don't own the rights to the novel. But it would make a smashing movie, and I did change a few things, primarily the ending. People complain about the ending of Ubik. Yes, Runciter finds a Joe chip coin in his pocket, but that isn't enough. We need a better ending. And I wrote one, but it's just for fun. Unless some producer buys the rights to Ubik and then wants my screenplay. Well, right now I'm writing books. I have my old book from the around 1989 or 90, I guess. I've got to go over that because I'm sure I have some dates wrong in the things I've written since then. Well, you know the journalist Paul Williams of Crawdaddy magazine and who did the Rolling Stone interview with Phil? He gave copies of the Three Stigmata of Palmer Eldritch to both John Lennon and Dr. Timothy Leary. And that is probably the beginnings of what led to the invasion and the search and vandalizing of Phil's home in 1971. It's in my book in progress. Sometime in the next couple of weeks, I'll be talking about it on Midnight in the Desert. The It used to be Art Bell's show after he left Coast to Coast. The interviewer is Tim something. Anyway, um, they're going to pre-record a couple hours, and then I might come on live to answer questions. Oh no, not George Norrie. I'm not going on Coast to Coast, and I won't go on Coast to Coast. I did it once, but only because I was interviewed by Jimmy Church. Jimmy Church has a voice that makes women swoon, and a face made for radio, as Art Bell used to say. But no, I won't say why, but I will not go on Coast to Coast ever. That was a one shot, one time deal, only for Jimmy Church. And I'll probably be on Jimmy Church's show if I ever get my book finished, The X in Exegesis. It's killing me. But it would make a great screenplay just to do the March 1974 experiences as a screenplay. It really would. So anyway, um, Phil thought that the cross on which Jesus was crucified was shaped like an X. Why is what killing me? Oh, reading the exegesis. It makes my brain hurt and it makes me miss Phil so much. And, it's been, he passed away, if you could call it that, in 1982. I think there was something shady going on, but not related to the government, related to a certain woman. I can't name her, but well, I could if I didn't mind being sued for all the money I don't have. Anyway, um, my son was, let's see, 9 years old, almost 10. Wait a minute, 82. He was 8 years old, almost 9, when he lost his father. And he still misses him terribly. They had a great relationship. Well, it was not, the cross was not shaped like the X, and I'll tell you why. They placed a sign over Jesus' head, a great big sign that said in 3 languages, "Here's Jesus, King of the Jews," or something like that. Oh, Timothy, born in 82. I was born in 54. Phil was born in 28. Yes, I was the child bride and the sweet young thing. Horse Pucky. I just didn't care. Hi, Strontium. We have another wrench in the room. Hooray! People are behaving anyway. Yes, Tim, Green Glass Inri, Jesus of Nazareth, King of the Jews, but uh, the 3 languages had slightly different phrasings. Anyway, you couldn't put the sign on an X shaped cross, it wouldn't fit. Another possibility is just one straight upright pole. It'd be kind of hard to get the sign to not, flip around. And besides, his hands were nailed with nails, more than one nail. On a pole, they would have used one nail, not two. Question left is whether the cross was a capital T with the crossbar on top or a lowercase t. I'm going for the lowercase t because if it were uppercase, wouldn't his head block the sign? Eh, but anyway, Phil thought it was an X. So when he talked about tree X in a letter to Claudia Bush, that you see it at different times in different places, but it's the same tree, he uses the term X for a reason. In several places, the New Testament says that Jesus was hanged on a tree. Hi, Moonlight. Welcome back. You see, the tree, the cross. Well, it's made of trees. Now, where was I? Um, saw the X Files, but well, we tried reconnecting. I hate YouTube. Come on, YouTube. All right, I'm back. Um, X in algebra, we have to find out. X is the unknown. Ooh, cross as the mast of a boat. Now, the Russian cross kind of looks like it includes the sign because it has two cross pieces, one up a little higher, one down a little lower. Ooh, making crucifixes, eh? Uh, that would be kind of hard for carried up into heaven. I'm really needing a quick break here to recycle some coffee, but I'll be right back. Don't go away. Uh, Earlier, someone asked if I swagger when I'm walking. It just occurred to me, I'm not swaggering here. I'm sitting in a rocking chair. Great Granny's rocking chair, which I inherited. Well, Jesus was the son of a carpenter, and no, he did not grow up in poverty. That's a myth. Carpenters were highly skilled and well paid craftsmen. He was middle class, and probably upper middle class, but he gave that all up to teach his disciples, his students. They called him rabbi, which is not really master, it's teacher. Maybe schoolmaster. Well, yeah, at the very least, Joseph had children from his first wife, who died. Mary probably had more children. Catholics would beg to differ. I'm a Protestant. I think I'm a Baptist, but I'm not a woo woo Baptist. I do miss the Southern Baptist Church where I was baptized. Oh, the singing, the whole congregation would join in the singing and they'd encourage me and make me sing louder and louder. And it didn't matter if I was no good, you just had to praise the Lord as loudly as you can. You're connected to YouTube. Come on. Now, Dave claims he can hear me when I'm disconnected, but I don't know if all of you can. Actually, not a dude. It's a bunch of shopping bags. You know, the reusable shopping bags that you can't use because of the virus? My right shoulder. Let me see. See, I have a backwards picture, so I have to turn around and look. Yeah, there's nobody here. Better not be. I don't. Rock music? I think it came from Rock in the House, but I could be. Then I'll walk over there and show you. Is he gone now? Shopping bags. So is the dude gone now? I hope he is. Moonlight. Yeah, I now occasionally attend the First Baptist Church. God. Anyway, I do occasionally. They don't speak in tongues as near as I can tell. Maybe they do, but they sure do sing and dance and rock the house with gospel music. Ah, my back is killing me. This rocking chair was the only chair where Great Granny could be comfortable after she broke her back in a car accident. Um, the doctors told her family that she would never walk again, but nobody told Great Granny. So she did walk again, but she was in pain. Last 20 years or so of her life. That was the first time she had a seizure was in that car accident. And for some reason that I've never understood, the doctor told her to eat horehound candy. It's a hard candy made with an herb called horehound to prevent seizures. Not medication, just these hard candies. Go figure. I guess it worked. Huh. Now I remember the taste of horehound. It had sugar, but it also had this bitterness. It would not ever have been my first choice of candy, but I would eat it. Well, see, I'm the descendant of people who survived a very tough life. They tell me that great granny, the adults, family was poor. They, great granny's husband, whom I never met because he didn't live as long as she did, he was born the son of a plantation owner, but they didn't wait around for the Civil War. They freed their slaves and sold the plantation because they couldn't, they were losing money on it anyway. But most great granny's mother, but then she freed them. And apparently they had all of two slaves. The farm work on the plantation was done by paid labor. They just had two household servants who were an old married couple, and they freed them. I guess at some point they had freed all the other slaves. They just kept these two a little longer to help raise their children. Great Granny developed a problem when she was young. So even though she hadn't waited the full 3 years of being engaged to her future husband, when the doctor said she had to go to a warmer climate and her fiance was already in San Bernardino, California, they sent her to get married a little early, somewhere between 1 and 2 years of engagement, so that she could live in a warmer climate. Granny was a tough old bird. Now, my grandfather Um, see, we never called him Grandpa, we called him Judd. His parents escaped from Utah back when you had to escape. They were still Mormons, but they were Idaho Mormons after the escape. Basically, they didn't like Brigham Young, so they called themselves Joseph Smith Morgans. But nowadays, it's Latter day Saints. And you can't say the Mormon church, you have to say the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter day Saints. I'm sorry, that's too much of a mouthful. And besides, when Judd married Granny and they came to Los Angeles, things were quite different. In the Depression, Judd always had a job, but he had to go to Salt Lake City. You see, being a Mormon, he was in the Book of Life and all that. So Mom was born in Salt Lake City, but as soon as there was work in Los Angeles, my grandparents came back, of them having grown up on farms in Idaho. And oh, there's more to it than that. Huh. Mar- Whorehound is, that's interesting, Moonlight, about Whorehound. Apparently, it was supposed to have some medicinal properties. Anyway, um, on Dad's side, it began when the white slave owner in Virginia produced a son with his black house servant. He gave his son his freedom and not much more. And the son, when he was an adult and he left, he married a Cherokee woman. So I'm not in the Dawes roles because ever walked the Trail of Tears. But even back then, my family were a bunch of rogues and rebels. So the son of the Cherokee woman and the half black man married a white woman, and they're passed for white. So I guess I'm passing for white. I don't know. I don't care. But people who know native tribes say I look just like a reservation Cherokee. They know by looking at me that I'm, your connection is unstable. Please wait while we try to reconnect. Hurry up, YouTube. I'm on a roll. Go. People who know native tribes know from looking at me that I'm an Indian. American Indian, Amerindian, native, whatever. And yet I have just the teeniest, tiniest bit of Cherokee. Rebels by Tom Petty. I'm going to have to listen to that. Yeah, licorice, evil YouTube, quit disconnecting me, you evil thing. Okay, I love black licorice, the real thing that has. Here we go again. Your connection is unstable. Please wait while we try to reconnect. I think you glitching on me, but I'll soldier on. And I like real Barilla root, whereas root beer is, come on, quit disconnecting me, YouTube. Root beer is, of course, the sarsaparilla has caramel and vanilla added. Oh dear, moon. Oh, come on. Evil, evil mouse, get back in the box. Uh, yeah, and whoops. Sorry about that. I hope you didn't. I hope you didn't. Ding, ding, ding. I've been drinking tonic water because it contains quinine. All this chloroquine and hydrochloroquine stuff, it's just chemicals that were developed so they could patent quinine, the original treatment for malaria. That's why all these old movies have people drinking gin and tonic. They would add gin to the tonic to make it a little more palatable to avoid malaria when living in a tropical climate or visiting, in places with mosquitoes. Yeah, well, I have a zinc supplement in addition, and vitamin C. But quinine in tonic water, I suppose you could probably get quinine, but you wouldn't ever want to eat or drink it straight like that. It's bitter enough in tonic water. But, it couldn't hurt. Few ounces of tonic water once a day. I poured squirt into it this time. I was putting in apple juice, and before that, lemonade. Even tonic water is better if you cut it with something, some kind of fruit juice. I love squirt though. Fizzy, sugary grapefruit juice. Yeah, I have calcium and vitamin D and so forth. When I remember to take them. And the B complex. Ooh, Triton, I can't stand quinine. It's okay in a drink. It kind of cuts the sweetness of a fruit punch that's too sweet, but by itself, oh, ugh. I have a weird cat. She'll demand a bite of whatever I'm eating and then say, oh, I don't want that. Ew. And she walks away in disgust. This morning it's steak and eggs, scrambled eggs with little chunks of steak. She went nuts demanding it. So I, I actually put the whole dish down on the kitchen floor because I knew what would happen. She sniffed it and walked away, and I picked it back up so I could eat it. Yeah, that's the original reason why I had tonic water was leg cramps. Sometimes when I'm sleeping, especially if it's cold, and even though I wear fuzzy socks to bed, my feet and lower legs will cramp up, and there is no way I can go to sleep until I walk off the cramps. Tonic water helps to reduce the cramping, and good supplements with vitamins and minerals also help. Phil overdid the vitamins. He thought that might have had something to do with his visions. Let me get more water. I like the theme from Dragnet. Just the facts, ma'am. Mm. Well, what really happened was this cute little blonde woman named Becky came to the door selling Shackley products. So, of course, Phil ordered a whole bunch of vitamins. And he was reading mainly Not the scientific literature, really, but the general literature about Linus Pauling's experiments with vitamin C. You know what really helps with my leg cramps? Electric blanket. They say the so called experts claim it should be cold when you're sleeping. Not for me. I need to be warm. Anyway, Phil thought he could expand his mind, maybe open his third eye if he took enough vitamin C. And it was supposed to prevent or cure cancer too. And I forget exactly when, but at some point we read about a famous Hollywood, I don't know, actor, director told he was going to die. Had lots of money, so he, your connection is unstable. Please wait while we try to reconnect. Come on, he lived, and his cancer went away. Very interesting. Cancer is a case of your own cells going wild, and it seems to have a connection to viruses. Whatever viruses are, they are toxic to our cells. Is simply a bit of, I don't know, that would not explain how you can. I'm not really going for that, but a virus is basically a bit of, in some cases, DNA. Sorry, my eyes got itchy. Wrapped in a hard shell. Now, the coronavirus is shaped like a ball and has these spikes all around the whole ball. So when you look at a photograph, it's looks flat and it looks kind of like a corona, a crown, sort of. Well, they have to push vitamin D, guys, because people don't get out in the sun anymore. The experts and those in power, the elite, want to cram us all into high rise apartments in the cities where we can all catch deadly diseases and get no sunshine, hence no vitamin D, walk all the time on, let's see, carpeting, tiles, and pavement, never on the good earth where we live, and where we're so crowded together that that disease will spread like wildfire. That's why people who had any sense fled the cities when there were plagues in the Middle Ages and the Renaissance. They fled to the country for fresh air and sunshine and good food pulled right out of the ground and put on their table. They knew the value of fresh fruits and vegetables and milk straight from the cow. And I don't listen to people who diss cow's milk. I've never had a problem digesting it, and it's got lots of calcium and lots of protein and lots of calories. And I love the flavor, even without chocolate in it. And cheese, oh yeah, cheese. Well, for a short time, Phil tried to be a vegetarian. He would eat, eventually, he would eat fish. Well, I drink coffee and tea as well as water, but I couldn't cook. Evil YouTube. Evil. Come on, YouTube. Bring me back on. Come on. All right, YouTube's through playing. A really good cook, although I'm trying. I have a machine that makes bread, but my yeast died, so I had to order some. I finally found some online. The stores have been stripped. Once that arrives, I can make bread in the machine. I can handle that. But to cook vegetarian eggplant, oh, so good. When you nut soup and fry it in lots of oil and butter, oh my God, it's good. Anyway, eventually he decided he could eat fish. And then he could eat chicken. And then he decided beef was okay too. Thank God. To a Noggle burger. Noggles is awesome. Castle burgers. Of course, I've only had the ones that you buy frozen. Come on, your connection is unsight. Now, where was I? The White Castle, but I'm not impressed. And the last time I went to an I liked it all that much. It was okay. It was worth putting my YouTube. Quit doing that to me. Cheers on to eat an In-N-Out burger, but I miss Noggles desperately. And of course, Bob. Yeah, come on. It's hard to find a Bob's Big Boy anymore. Great coffee shop with relish. It's almost like a Thousand Island dressing. Probably is. Hour and 20, and YouTube keeps glitching on me. So, anyway, I'm not that ill. I'm not going, I think maybe all those vitamins, it wasn't just vitamin C, but all kinds of vitamins that Phil was taking, they might have had something to do with his visions, but it was more likely the drugs from when he had his broken molar extracted. It was not a wisdom tooth, it was near the front. I know which tooth it was. A wisdom tooth would have been way in the back. Anyway, he was very frightened of the dentist, which is why his teeth got so bad. So they gave him a general anesthesia, and afterward he had pain pills, and he took 2 Percodan instead of 1. So I'm sure that had a lot to do with it. But the visions continued, and there were things going on around us which suggest to me that there was some kind of microwave, like radio transmissions, that somehow were making him hear people talking to him inside his head. But there's still more to that, and I don't know to this day how much he made up, because he did make stuff up. Like he claimed he didn't know any Latin or Greek. Well, he'd studied Latin in high school and he wasn't very good at it, but he listened to all kinds of classical religious music, and the librettos, that you can read, say what they're singing, and it's all in Latin masses. And no, he didn't know any Greek, but he bought a Greek and English New Testament to study. So I don't know. He made stuff up. But something very real did happen to him. Between the mega doses of vitamins and the oral surgery, which is quite traumatic, and the drugs involved in the general anesthesia plus the pain pills. Percodan is basically another opium substitute. or codeine substitute. It can cause hallucinations. But he took those for only a couple weeks. He had a month's supply, but he doubled up and used it all in 2 weeks. Anyway, um, something very real did happen to him. And in going through the exegesis, I'm trying to pick out a coherent thread of ideas from the mishmash because he never finished it. These were just his notes, letters to people and handwritten notes to himself. So I'm trying to kind of organize it and make it, well, at least less than 1,000 pages. It's hard work, makes my brain hurt. But and I thought I'd be finished with it by now, but I keep finding more to explore, more to research. Chickenpox prospects, I forgot that. COVID corners, those mumps and chickenpox. Your connection is unstable. Please wait. Here we go. Quit glitching, YouTube. I'm almost finished. I had German measles and norovirus and strep throat. Eventually, in my 40s, I had scarlet fever. They thought they'd, gotten rid of it, that it didn't exist anymore, but I caught it. I thought it was the measles at first. It wasn't. But I survived, and by the time I went to a doctor, it was too late for him to do anything except tell me what I had. Thanks. I didn't get there till after the fever broke. Anyway, I'm not anti-vax, but I will take an MMR and a pneumonia shot. Flu doesn't kill you. It allows pneumonia to get in while your immune system is depressed, and then you die from pneumonia or some other opportunistic infection like sepsis. My cat says someone is here, so I'm going to sign off now and in just a minute. Thanks, guys. I'll see who's at the door. Oh, thank you. Okay. Hi, sweetie pie. Okay, it wasn't who I thought it was. It was a neighbor. Long story, but I hang on to her spare keys for when she pick up some cat food for me. Thank you all for. I hit the space bar, you evil computer.